seen the most success with white label partners. They have resources internally that are capable of doing project management, and we're in lockstep with those resources as we're going through the onboarding process and any future projects. I think it's important to evaluate your organization holistically when you're considering these two models and ask yourself if you have the resources available and the right people, to put on those tasks in order to be successful in those areas. If project management is not something that you do at all for your clients, then you're probably a better fit for the agent model. If that's something you do every day for your clients and your clients have a relationship with your project management office and are comfortable working with those teams and you have some technical resources on hand for project work or maybe just consulting, then white label is probably a good option for you. But it's important not to underestimate the amount of involvement that you'll have as a white label partner in this onboarding process, where the agent model is largely hands-off.
No doubt about it. And what advice would you give, Brian, to the company that may be operating today as a channel partner, wants to head down this path, but may not have those resources today? So what's the path look like to get there? You being the founder and CEO of a company that Netrio acquired, and you built this highly successful business. You could have gone down the agent path, but you chose to, own the client. So talk a little bit about what that journey looks like and how we might be, how Netrio can help partners that may not be equipped to do this today.
If you're in a trusted advisor position today and you're providing mostly agent type services to your customer base, it's obviously advantageous for you to pursue a white label engagement with them. It puts more of the revenue into your bucket. And we'll talk about the differences between the two in just a minute. But the more education that you can do for yourself, around managed services and how they work and what makes them a success. And I'll just add my little side note, communications is what makes them a success. It's about educating yourself on the process, making sure you understand what's going to happen at each cycle during the process. So whether that's onboarding or project execution, or whether it's, the day-to-day management of the client's assets, understanding what's important to the client, what pain points you're trying to solve, and then stepping in and presenting yourself as an individual that adds value to that process. And when you're adding value from a project management perspective, the client's environment, and you're playing that trusted advisor role between your client and the managed service provider to make sure that everybody has the right expectation and understands who the right points of contact are. That's educating yourself within both organizations. So, make yourself familiar with Netrio, find out who all the important people are who are going to be part of the process, during the course of the engagement on this side as well as on the customer side. Just trying to really educate yourself about how the engagement's going to work long term, and then staying engaged to make sure it's a success is the advice I would give.
And we've even seen in certain cases, Brian, where if somebody's not ready to do it today, we can help bridge that gap. And what that model might look like is that certain points on this slide are gray to start while the white label provider capabilities get ramped up.
When I think about white label partners, I think about, them adding this to their list of products and services that they sell today. And when you think about it, typically those things are telecom resources. And so they're circuits or subscriptions for internet service or private line service, and they're UCaaS. So this jump, puts them in a different position with the customer, where the customer's looking at them as a vastly different service provider than they previously did. And I think in today's day, what we're seeing, if you talk to AT&T, they'll tell you they do managed services. You go talk to CenturyLink, they're going to tell you they do managed services. Every CLEC that's on the face of the earth now is a managed service provider. And what happens is your client goes over to those organizations like that for managed IT services. The chances that those businesses are going to get their telecom and their UCaaS down the road are pretty high. So from a position perspective, the health of the relationship with your client, I think that, this is bigger than a financial conversation. That $10,000 engagement, with some projects yearly, that can turn that $120,000 a year annualized revenue figure into very quickly a $200,000 a year annual revenue factor. So there's some soft benefits, I think, that we can't really project and we can't put on paper to show you where the value is. But there are all kinds of things that you can do, additional services you can sell them, like Virtual CIO. You can kick in at a few $1,000s a month, and all the other things that they're going to be looking for you to solve once you're in this position, or where you're really going to benefit and really start to drive that value in that customer relationship.
You want to speak a little bit about position of negotiation strength when you've got ownership of the client?
The further that you can get in advancing the relationship with the client and demonstrating, what your value is, obviously the stickier that situation is, and the longer the client is going to continue to be in that relationship, and also the more of their budget or their spend that you're going to get. And so, as you're completing your portfolio of services, you may have some telecom in there right now. You may have some UCaaS, maybe some SD-WAN, some managed SD-WAN. It's a natural progression to extend that into managed IT services. And as your client is looking to you to deliver those types of services, they come to you with every project that they have. So that top line revenue is not only impacted by the current engagement that that you have on the table. It's, what does the future present? And so, once you become that trusted advisor that's now delivering their managed IT, their organization is heavily dependent on you, and you're going to continue to get that more and more of that spend. And that, owning that top line revenue, having that better control of your margins, that's just going to give you the ability to grow your business. And the valuation piece is nice if you're looking to market your company in the future. It is a very difficult thing to do well, and not all business owners do it well. That's why I'm a CTO now instead of a CEO. But certainly a good point. And Mike, to yours, once you hit that magic EBITDA number, your company valuation factor starts to really explode. For white label partners, that's important because by outsourcing this effort to another organization, to a service provider, you're not taking on the overhead of all the salaries that it requires to deliver this support. So those are the things that really kill a bit the spend. And as a white label partner, you don't have to increase your spend. You just increase your top line revenue, and you get the margin to go with it. You pair some professional services along the backside of it to do the project management, the other aspects of client relationship management, and you've really got a strong play in the marketplace.